What if I told you that your subconscious is not just a co-pilot, but the very scriptwriter of your life? Jung saw the unconscious as a stage where mysterious characters, archetypes, act in silence. But what if, beyond that, there was an invisible audience? Modern neuroscience shows that up to 95% of our decisions are made in the subconscious. In other words, you don't decide, you discover that you have decided. Imagine your conscious mind as the actor on stage. Who wrote the script? Who controls the lighting? Who decides whether today will be a comedy or a tragedy? That's right, the subconscious. And perhaps, just perhaps, part of that script was written even before you were born. By your ancestors, your myths, your culture. Carl Jung called this the collective unconscious. If your life were a movie, are you ready to discover who's really directing it? Have you ever felt that something deep down is secretly controlling your life? Maybe it's an uncomfortable sensation you can't shake off, a choice you keep making even though it doesn't make sense, or a dream so vivid it haunts you all day. What if I told you that Carl Jung, one of psychology's greatest minds, warned us about a hidden force in our minds, a power we barely understand, yet one that shapes every decision, every emotion, every step of our journey? Welcome to a journey into the unknown parts of yourself, where mysteries await to be unraveled. Today, we're diving deep into the subconscious, the part of your mind that's always working, even when you're not paying attention. Jung called it a treasure trove of wisdom, but also a shadow that can hold you back if you ignore it. In the next minutes, we'll uncover Jung's secrets, the archetypes that guide your story, the shadow self you might be afraid to face, and the collective unconscious that connects you to all of humanity. You'll learn practical tools like decoding your dreams, trusting your intuition, and practicing mindfulness to unlock your true potential and live an authentic, purposeful life. Why does this matter? Because your subconscious is not just a silent passenger. It's the engine driving your decisions, your relationships, and even your destiny. If you've ever felt stuck, as if something is missing, or wondered why you keep repeating the same patterns, this hidden force might hold the answers. By understanding it, you can free yourself, find peace, and step into the life you were meant to live. So let's take the first step together, entering the mind of Carl Jung and the secrets that await within you. Imagine this: you're driving through life, hands on the wheel, thinking you're in total control. But what if there's a part of you hidden beneath the surface, silently steering the car? That's your subconscious. And Carl Jung believed it to be one of the most powerful forces shaping who you are. Let's unveil what it is and why Jung warned us not to ignore it. So what exactly is the subconscious? Think of it as the backstage crew of your mind, working behind the curtain of your consciousness. While your conscious mind decides what to have for lunch or what to say in a meeting, your subconscious is pulling the strings, shaping your habits, your emotions, and even how you see the world. Jung saw this differently from his mentor, Freud. Freud thought the subconscious was just a dumping ground for repressed desires. But Jung? He saw it as a living, dynamic force, a source of creativity, wisdom, and sometimes chaos. It's where your deepest fears hide, but also where your greatest potential awaits. Let me share a story. A few years ago, I met someone named Anna. She was smart, motivated, always chasing the next big goal, but she kept falling into the same trap. Relationships that seemed exciting at first, but always ended in heartache. She wondered, why does this keep happening? It was only when she started exploring her subconscious that she realized she was chasing a pattern, a need for validation she didn't even know she had. That's the thing about the subconscious. It's like an invisible script running the show until you shine a light on it. Jung warned that ignoring this hidden part of ourselves can leave us stuck. It's like trying to navigate a ship without checking the currents below. If you don't pay attention, these currents, unexamined fears, old wounds, or habits you don't even notice can steer you off course. You might feel restless, as if you're not living the life you should, or maybe you keep repeating mistakes like Anna did without knowing why. In Stoicism, philosophers like Marcus Aurelius urged us to look within, to question our automatic reactions. Buddhism also teaches that suffering comes from attachment to patterns we don't understand. Jung's warning echoes these timeless ideas. If you ignore your subconscious, you're ignoring the root of your struggles and your strengths. But here's the interesting part. Your subconscious isn't just a problem to solve. It's a treasure trove filled with insights that can transform your life. Think of it as a wise friend who's always whispering advice, if only you would listen. Jung believed that by exploring this hidden world, you could unlock creativity, find clarity, and discover your true purpose. Taoists talk about flowing with the natural rhythm of life, and your subconscious is part of that flow, a guide to living in harmony with who you truly are. So, how do you start listening? Here's a simple exercise to try today. Grab a notebook and jot down a moment from last week when you felt stuck or frustrated. Maybe it was an argument, a decision you couldn't make, or a moment when you felt off. Now ask yourself, what was it? What was I feeling in that moment? Don't overthink it, just write. This is the first step to noticing the subconscious patterns Jung encouraged us to explore. As the poet Rumi once said, "The wound is the place where the light enters you." These moments of struggle, they're your subconscious waving a flag, begging for attention. Before we move on, let me ask, have you ever felt like there's an inner voice you can't explain? Maybe a hunch or a recurring thought? Share in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. Jung identified three key forces in the subconscious: archetypes, the shadow self, and the collective unconscious, and they hold the keys to unlocking your potential. Let's dive into that next. Now that we know the subconscious is this powerful hidden force driving our lives, let's meet the three actors Jung said are running the show: archetypes, the shadow self, and the collective unconscious. They're like characters, conflicts, and shared stories in the theater of your mind. Understanding them isn't just fascinating, it's a game changer in how you live, love, and grow. Let's start with archetypes. Have you ever noticed how certain patterns show up in every story, every movie, every life? The brave hero, the wise mentor, the tricky rogue? These are archetypes, universal blueprints in your subconscious that shape how you see the world and yourself. Jung believed they are hardwired into us, like instincts of the mind. They're not just ideas, they're forces that guide your actions. Take the hero archetype. It's what drives you to face challenges, to get back up after a fall. But if you ignore it, you might feel like you're not living up to your potential, as if you're stuck backstage in your own story. Think of someone like Lucas, a guy I know who always played it safe. He had a stable job, a predictable routine, but felt empty. Deep down, his hero archetype was screaming for adventure, for a challenge that would make him feel alive. When he finally took the leap, quitting his job to start a small business, the hero energy came to life, and so did he. Archetypes aren't just in myths, they're in you, shaping your choices every day. Here's a practical tip. Pay attention to the roles you play. Are you acting like the victim, always blaming others, or the leader, stepping up to solve problems? Over the next few days, note the moments when you feel drawn to a particular role. Observe what it's trying to tell you. Stoics like Seneca would advise examining your actions with clarity to see the patterns that define you. By identifying your archetypes, you can choose which ones to lean on. Before we move on, which archetype do you think you're living right now? The hero, the caregiver? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious. As Lao Tzu said in the Tao Te Ching, knowing others is intelligence, knowing yourself is true wisdom. Archetypes are a map to this wisdom, but there's another force in your mind that's a bit darker, a bit scarier. Let's talk about the shadow self. If archetypes are the roles you play, the shadow self is the part of you that hides backstage, afraid of the spotlight. Jung described the shadow as everything you push away, your fears, your shame, the characteristics you don't want to admit you have. Maybe it's anger you bury because Nice people don't get angry, or confidence you suppress because you're afraid of seeming arrogant. The shadow isn't bad, but ignoring it, that's where problems start. It can make you criticize someone you love or sabotage your own success without knowing why. Let me get real for a second. I used to hate when people seemed too full of themselves. It drove me crazy. But then I realized, through some deep self-reflection, that I was judging my own desire to shine. My shadow was hiding a confidence I was too afraid to embrace. Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." That's the power of the shadow. It runs the show until you face it. Here's how to start. Try a journaling exercise. Write down a characteristic you can't stand in someone else. Maybe it's laziness or dishonesty. Now ask yourself, where might this live in me? Even a little. Be honest, but kind. It's not about blaming yourself, it's about seeing yourself clearly. Buddhism teaches that accepting all parts of yourself leads to inner peace, and facing your shadow is a step in that direction. By accepting it, you transform your weaknesses into strengths. Have you ever considered that what irritates you most in others might be the part of you that needs the most love? The shadow is like a dirty mirror you avoid looking into, but the more you try to run, the louder it screams. Quantum physics even suggests that observation changes reality. The same happens within you. By observing your shadow, you change your very being. It's as if, by illuminating the dark, you reveal a secret room within yourself. Imagine this. Every judgment is a disguised reflection. That too arrogant person, maybe they're reminding you of a dream you abandoned. The lazy one, maybe they represent the freedom you don't allow yourself. Jung didn't say to eliminate the shadow, but to dance with it. Are you willing to step into your shadow's shoes and dance with the side you hide? Which characteristic have you noticed in others that bothers you? Share in the comments. It's a great way to start identifying your shadow. Now let's zoom out to something even bigger, something that connects us all. Imagine your subconscious as an ocean. Archetypes and the shadow are like waves and currents in your personal corner of the water. But there's a deeper layer, a vast undercurrent that links all humans, the collective unconscious. Jung believed this to be a shared reservoir of experiences, memories, and symbols that we all draw from. That's why cultures worldwide, separated by oceans and centuries, tell similar stories, creation myths, epic quests, tales of love and loss. These aren't coincidences. They're the collective unconscious whispering through us. Think about it. Have you ever had a dream that felt bigger than you, as if it came from somewhere else? Or felt an inexplicable connection to a story from a culture you've never known? That's the collective unconscious at work. It's why we're drawn to certain symbols, a tree, a circle, a star, and why they feel so powerful. I remember visiting an ancient temple once and feeling an inexplicable awe, as if I were part of something timeless. That's the collective unconscious reminding you, your story isn't just yours, it's humanity's. Here's a tip to connect with this. Start noticing symbols in your life. Maybe it's a recurring image in your dreams, like a bird or a door, or a number that keeps popping up, like 1111. Write them down and ask, what might this mean for me? Positive psychology suggests that finding meaning in patterns increases your sense of purpose, and the collective unconscious is full of these patterns. You're not just an individual, you're part of a bigger story. Let's reflect. What symbol or story has always resonated with you? Maybe it's a myth, a movie, or even a dream. Share below. It's amazing how these topics connect us. As we move forward, we'll explore how to tap into these forces through dreams, intuition, and mindfulness. Your subconscious is ready to speak. Are you ready to listen? We've just discovered the 3 hidden forces in your subconscious: archetypes, the shadow self, and the collective unconscious. They're like the cast, conflicts, and shared history of your inner world. But knowing they exist isn't enough. How do you actually connect with them? How do you listen to what your subconscious is trying to tell you? That's where things get exciting. Jung gave us tools to unlock this hidden realm, and they're simpler than you might think. Your dreams, your intuition, and the practice of mindfulness. Let's explore how these can open the door to your true potential. Have you ever woken from a dream that felt so real, so intense, that it stayed with you all day? Maybe you were running from something, standing on the edge of a cliff, or meeting someone you've never seen. Jung believed that dreams aren't random. They're your subconscious sending messages, speaking in a language of symbols. Unlike Freud, who linked dreams to hidden desires, Jung saw them as a bridge to your deeper self, revealing truths you might not see when awake. That dream of falling, it could be your subconscious whispering about a fear of losing control. A dream of flying? Maybe it's encouraging you to embrace your freedom. Let me tell you about Maria, a friend who dreamt of a locked door. Night after night, that door haunted her, and she woke up frustrated, not knowing why. When she started journaling her dreams, she realized the door symbolized a career change she was too afraid to make. After she faced her fear and took the leap, the dream stopped, and she felt lighter, as if she had unlocked something within herself. Your dreams are like postcards from your subconscious, waiting for you to read them. Here's a practical tip. Start a dream journal. Keep a notebook by your bed, and as soon as you wake up, write down everything you remember. Images, emotions, even fragments. Don't worry about understanding it immediately. Over time, look for patterns. Is there a recurring symbol, like water or a house? How do you feel in these dreams? Buddhism teaches us to observe our thoughts without judgment, and a dream journal is a way to do this with your subconscious. Try it for a week and see what messages come through. Pause for a second. What dream have you had recently that stuck with you? Maybe it was strange or vivid. Share in the comments. I'd love to know what your subconscious might be saying. As the poet William Blake said, imagination is not a state. It is the human existence itself. Your dreams are your imagination in action, but there's another way your subconscious speaks, and it's with you all the time. Let's talk about intuition. Have you ever had that gut feeling, like when you meet someone and immediately know they're trustworthy, or when you're about to make a choice and something inside says, wait, not yet? That's your intuition. And Jung saw it as your subconscious processing information faster than your conscious mind can keep up. It's like an internal compass, guiding you when logic alone isn't enough. Research in positive psychology confirms this. Intuition often relies on patterns your subconscious has noticed, even if you can't explain them. I remember a time when I was offered a job that looked perfect on paper, great salary, impressive title, but something felt off. My instinct was practically screaming, "Don't do it!" I ignored it at first, thinking I was being irrational, but when I took the job, it was a disaster. Toxic environment, no growth. Looking back, my intuition knew what my conscious mind didn't. Has this ever happened to you? Your subconscious is always scanning, picking up cues, and intuition is its way of nudging you in the right direction. Here's how to tune in. Try a 5-minute breathing exercise daily. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and focus on your breath. As thoughts arise, let them pass without clinging to them. After a few minutes, ask yourself a question you're struggling with, like, should I take this step? Or what do I need right now? Notice any feelings, images, or hunches that come up. Stoicism teaches us to trust our inner wisdom, and this exercise helps you hear it. Over time, your intuition will feel like a trusted friend. And what if that strange dream you had wasn't just yours? Many indigenous traditions believe that dreaming is a way of traveling to other realities. Jung went further. He saw dreams as messages from the collective unconscious, shared among souls. Curiously, recent neuroscience studies show that brainwave patterns during REM sleep have similarities to deep meditation states. In other words, Dreaming might be a way of tuning the mind to the universe. When Maria dreamt of a locked door, perhaps the entire universe was trying to open it. And you? What locked door is your dream trying to open? When was the last time your gut told you something before your head caught up? Share in the comments. It's amazing how often our intuition is right. Now let's bring it all together with a practice that amplifies both dreams and intuition. If dreams are your subconscious speaking at night and intuition is its whisper during the day, mindfulness is how you turn up the volume. Mindfulness is about being fully present, noticing your thoughts, feelings, and environment without judgment. When you combine this with symbolic thinking, paying attention to the deeper meaning of signs and patterns, you start to decode the language of your subconscious. Jung believed that symbols are the alphabet of the soul, carrying messages from your deepest self and even from the collective unconscious. Think of a time when you saw something repeatedly, a number like 111, an animal like a butterfly, or even a color that seemed to pop up everywhere. That's your subconscious trying to get your attention. For me, it was crows. A few years ago, I kept noticing them on my walks, outside my window, even in random photos. I started researching, and in many cultures, crows symbolize transformation. That was exactly what I needed to hear. I was resisting a big change in my life. As soon as I embraced it, the crows seemed to disappear, as if they had delivered their message. And what if that repeated number, that butterfly, that song, were secret coordinates to your purpose? Jung said that symbols are the language of the soul. Just like dreams, they translate the invisible into the visible. In ancient symbolism, the number 3 represents transformation, 7 the spiritual quest, 11 enlightenment. Seeing crows, as you mentioned, they are messengers between worlds in many cultures, including Norse mythology, where Odin had 2 crows, Hugin, thought, and Munin, memory. Perhaps those crows were, in fact, your own thoughts and memories trying to communicate with you. What symbol has been following you? Maybe it's trying to lead you home. Here's a practice to try. Start a daily mindfulness ritual. Spend 10 minutes meditating. Focus on your breath, a candle, or soft music. Then reflect on any symbols you've noticed recently. Maybe it's something from your dreams, a recurring thought, or an object that keeps catching your attention. Write it down and ask, what might this be telling me? Taoism encourages us to flow with life signs, and this practice helps you do that. Over time, you'll start to see your subconscious as a guide, not a mystery. Let's reflect. What symbol have you noticed in your life lately? It could be anything, a number, an animal, a feeling. Share below, and let's see what patterns emerge. As we move forward, we'll talk about how to use these tools to transform your life, from facing your fears to finding your purpose. Your subconscious is ready to lead the way. Are you ready to follow? Your intuition can be the spiritual Google of your subconscious. Intuition isn't magic, it's accelerated wisdom. It's the result of trillions of micro-perceptions processed in seconds. It's like an internal algorithm that compiles your past, your emotions, and even ancestral patterns, and whispers the answer before you finish the question. Science calls this adaptive heuristics. Taoists called it wu wei, acting without effort. You call it a gut feeling, all the same source, your subconscious, tuned to your purest truth. When was the last time you listened to that whisper and obeyed? You've just learned how to listen to your subconscious through dreams, intuition, and mindfulness. It's like you've been given the key to a door you didn't even know existed. But unlocking the door is just the beginning. Now it's time to step through and transform your life. Jung didn't just want us to understand the subconscious. He wanted us to use it to become our truest selves. In this part, we'll explore how to face your shadow, live your purpose, and increase your emotional intelligence. These are the steps to turning your hidden forces into a source of strength. Let's start by examining the part of you that's hardest to face. Your shadow, the fears, desires, and characteristics you push away, can seem like a scary stranger. But Jung believed that facing it is one of the most powerful things you can do. When you embrace your shadow, you stop fighting yourself. You turn internal conflict into growth. It's not about becoming perfect, it's about becoming whole. Think of it as a Buddhist teaching. True peace comes from accepting all parts of yourself, even the messy ones. Ignoring your shadow is like letting it drive your life from the back seat. Facing it puts you back in the driver's seat. Take Sarah, for example, a woman I know who always prided herself on being kind and pleasant. But she silently resented it when people took advantage of her. She hated confrontations, so she repressed her anger, until it came out in passive-aggressive comments she later regretted. When she started exploring her shadow, she realized she was suppressing her assertiveness, afraid it would make her unpleasant. By journaling about what triggered her resentment, she began to see that her shadow wasn't anger. It was a need to stand up for herself. After accepting this, she set boundaries, and her relationships grew stronger, not weaker. Here's a practical tip. Try shadow journaling. Write down someone who frustrates you and list the characteristics that bother you most. Maybe it's selfishness or neediness. Now ask yourself, where might this live in me even a little? For example, if you hate selfishness, maybe you're afraid to prioritize your own needs. Be kind to yourself. It's not about shame, it's about clarity. Stoicism reminds us to face our flaws with courage, and this exercise helps you do that. Over time, accepting your shadow will make you feel lighter and more authentic. What's one characteristic in someone else that irritates you? Share in the comments. It's a great way to start seeing your shadow. By embracing these hidden parts, you'll find something incredible, the path to your purpose. Jung believed that the ultimate goal of life is individuation, integrating all parts of your subconscious to live authentically. It's about aligning with your true purpose, the reason your heart beats a little faster when you think about it. Your archetypes, like the hero or the creator, are clues to this purpose. By listening to them, you stop living someone else's script and start writing your own. Positive psychology shows that living with purpose increases resilience and happiness, and Jung's ideas give us a roadmap to get there. Let me tell you about Daniel, a guy who felt stuck in a corporate job. He was good at it, but it drained him. In his dreams, he saw himself painting, something he loved as a child, but gave up. His creator archetype was calling, but he ignored it, thinking it wasn't practical. When he finally started painting again, just for himself, he felt alive. That spark led him to take a part-time job teaching at an art school, and he's never been happier. Your purpose doesn't have to be grand, it just has to be yours. Here's a tip. Ask yourself, what does my subconscious want me to do? Spend 10 minutes writing freely about a time when you felt truly alive, maybe a hobby, a conversation, or a moment of courage. Look for clues about your archetypes. Are you a caregiver who loves helping others? A hero who thrives on challenges? Taoism teaches us to follow our inner nature, and this exercise helps you find it. Start small. Try something this week that feels true to that spark. What moment made you feel truly alive? Share in the comments. I'd love to hear what lights you up. Living your purpose isn't just about you, it's about how you connect with the world. As you face your shadow and align with your purpose, something else grows. Your emotional intelligence. This is your ability to understand your own emotions and empathize with others. Jung's work shows that exploring your subconscious makes you more self-aware, and this awareness spills over into your relationships. You start to understand why you react a certain way and get better at handling conflicts, building trust, and inspiring others. It's like upgrading the software of your heart and mind. Think about how Sarah, from our earlier story, changed. By facing her shadow, she didn't just set better boundaries, she became more empathetic. She could see when others were struggling with their own shadows, and it made her a better friend, partner, and leader. Emotional intelligence isn't about being nice. It's about being real. Buddhism's focus on compassion and positive psychology's emphasis on connection point to this. Understanding yourself helps you understand others. Here's a quick practice. The next time you feel a strong emotion like frustration or joy, pause and name it. Ask, what is this feeling trying to tell me? Then, if you're with someone, try to notice their emotions too. This small habit builds self-awareness and empathy over time. Share in the comments, what emotion have you been noticing more clearly lately? Let's keep this conversation going. You didn't come into the world to fit in. You came to remember. Jung said that the process of individuation is becoming who you always were, before the world told you who to be. It's not a goal, it's a journey. Like a diamond that needs the world's pressure to shine. It's as if your true self is buried under layers of should, fear, expectation. Every time you face your shadow, listen to your intuition, or decipher a symbol, you're clearing that path. Not to become someone new, but to return to yourself. So I ask you, who were you before the world told you who you should be? Have you ever felt like an invisible force is pushing you forward or holding you back? Share in the comments an experience where your sixth sense was right. What archetype, the hero, the caregiver, the rebel, etc., do you feel is most present in your life today? Tell us. Is there a recurring symbol or dream that's been catching your attention lately? What do you think it might be trying to tell you? If this journey into the subconscious resonated with you, show your support by liking, subscribing to the channel, and sharing this video with someone else seeking self-discovery. And for an even deeper dive and practical tools to decode your dreams and intuition, I've prepared an amazing ebook on unlocking the hidden force within you. The link to download your copy is in the description and pinned in the first comment below. Grab yours now and continue this exploration. And if you're ready to take the next step in your growth journey, check out the videos appearing on your screen now. They've been hand-picked to help you keep learning and transforming. Click on a video to continue your journey. If you've made it this far, your transformation is already underway. You get ready to take the next step.